Now, when you're starting to see all of these things come out about Russia wanting Trump to be president, it's not because they think that Trump is running with them. They're trying to create a scapegoat, and by any means necessary. So let's move into late 2017. So let's start with May 5th. The National Security.
That late. It's not that late.
Yeah, I know.
It's only the 5th month. Okay, it's halfway. Mid. It's mid. Like this show.
Yeah, we're mids.
I'm sorry. I'm trolling you.
Jesus. I want to thank you guys for having us on Roma Nation. No, just kidding. Please like, comment, subscribe. Anyways, on May 5th, the National Security Agency says in a detailed classified report that the Russian military intelligence operation carried out cyber attacks in 2016 on a company that supplies software for voting machines in 8 U.S. states. The report contains no evidence that any votes were changed as a result of the hack. On May 17th, Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, appoints former FBI Director Robert S. Mueller as special counsel to investigate possible collusion between Trump campaign and the Russian government efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election. Then on May 31st, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence Issues and subpoenas for testimony, documents, and business records from Flynn and Michael Cohen, a personal attorney to the president. We all know about Michael Cohen now. My goodness. All right, so now we're going to go into, this is USA Today. All right, so the House Intelligence Committee issues subpoenas in Russian probe. The House Intelligence Committee issued subpoenas Wednesday, and this was, hold on, when was this? Looks like May 31st, 2017. All right, let's make sure my dates are correct. Wednesday for testimony, documents, business records for National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and President Trump's personal attorney Michael Cohen as part of an investigation into Russian interference in last year's presidential election, which was 2016. As a part of our ongoing investigation into Russia active measures during the 2016 campaign today, we approved subpoenas for several individuals' testimony, personal documents, and business records, said to a joint statement from Reps Mike Conaway, a Republican from Texas, and Adam Schiff, Democrat from California. What do you think of Adam Schiff? Never mind. Don't answer that question. That's rhetorical. Who are leading the House committee's inquiry. Quote, we hope that inspect that anyone called to testify or provide documents will comply with the requests so that we may gain all the information within the scope of our investigation. We'll continue to pursue this investigation wherever the facts may lead. I think this was the first time where they finally got to Michael Cohen. And isn't this where he lied under oath? Yeah. I'm not sure if it's the same thing, because they got him on something and he ended up getting in a lot of trouble. And I think this is because he didn't get any protection from Trump. You know, fast forward a couple years later, you see what happened a couple months ago.
I'm not entirely sure.
True. But something just came to mind. You know, this is probably where they got all the financial information, which led to all those indictments.
I remember now, Michael Cohen was on the stand during the recent Trump hush money scandal thing, because they were trying to get Trump on misappropriating, campaign funds and criminal, the 34 counts of, felony that they convicted him on or charged him with or whatever. Cohen was on the stand admitting to having stolen from Trump in paying himself back the hush money that Cohen paid out of his own pocket. But statute of limitations is up, so they can't do anything to him. That's what I think you're thinking of. He admitted that on the stand.
Vashnik over here on Rumble, he says, I thought he stole from Trump. Yeah, he did. And I think that's where they figured it out.
Because he billed him. He billed him for the value of that hush money that he paid Stormy Daniels. And regardless of what you think, whether Trump gave him the nod to do it or not, there's no paper trail for it. There's no evidence that Trump gave him the go-ahead. Instead, Cohen went on the stand and acknowledged that he went ahead and did it of his own volition and then billed Trump for it.
So now you understand why, when we look at this guilty verdict in New York, it's like he said on this end to Congress that he did it on his own volition, but then came back to the New York courts and said, oh no, he definitely told. So which one is it? Because you've committed perjury twice.
Yeah, he's lied every time he's got up on a stand, and then eventually it had to be drug out of him.
Exactly. So
once he had immunity, basically.
Exactly. So how in the world did the jury just say, "Oh no, he definitely we believe you this time"? Like that alone should throw that out in a higher court, because it's up to
the fixer, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much. But the fixer got fixed. He fixed himself.
He got.
Yeah, right. So how can his testimony been that damning, knowing that he was already a criminal perjurer, but nobody wanted to listen to that. But I mean, it didn't really come out that much because the media wouldn't cover it. But now you guys know. All right, so
Trump went to trial in Gotham City. Is what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
There's no Batman to save us.
And then June 7th, Trump announced his intentions to nominate Christopher Wray, big mistake, to replace Comey as the FBI director. Wray was an assistant U.S. Attorney General in the Bush administration in charge of the Justice Department's Criminal Prosecutions Division. And this comes from, looks like the Washington Post. Special counsel is investigating Trump for possibly obstruction of justice. This was June 14th to 15th, I believe. All right, this is, June 14th. Special counsel overseeing the investigation into Russia's role in the 2016 election is interviewing senior intelligence officials as part of a widening probe that now includes examination of whether President Trump attempted to obstruct justice, officials said. The move by special counsel Robert S. Mueller to investigate Trump's conduct marks a major turning point in the nearly year-old FBI investigation, which until recently focused on Russian meddling during the presidential campaign and whether there was any coordination between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. Investigations have also been looking for any evidence of possible financial crimes among Trump associates, officials said. So now that we don't know, and then you had that viral video that went on X last week of Hillary Clinton going, he's working with the Russians, and Bill Clinton's over there, thinking about Monica Lewinsky, but they lie right out in front in the public and in the open now, because there's no way they can hide it. See, here's the thing. It's not hard to figure this stuff out. You just need the right puzzle pieces. Okay? So think of it like this. If you're playing a sandbox game and you start in a specific area, right? This area is lit up because you visited that area, but the rest of the map is dark. You don't know what's out there. Say you teleport over here. All right, boom. Now this area starts to light up. You don't know what's in the middle, but at least you know what's over here, and you start picking up clues. Then you teleport over here. Boom. And then eventually the map starts to light up. All right. For me personally, it was right around when COVID hit and everybody lost their jobs, including myself. I was one of them. That's when I was able to go in and do a bunch of research and go on the internet and kind of put pieces together. And eventually I was like, oh my goodness, now I understand what's happened the last, 25, 30 years. And a lot of people are at that point now. So you're not going to get away with it this time. A lot of people are not buying a lot of this, extreme rhetoric about bad things happening, because we already know the answer. It's just, people
just look at the people that are coming out of the woodwork and starting to not care.
Exactly.
About there's more Trump supporters because they failed to kill him than there ever were now. People that were secretly or on the fence are now voting and being out about it. Like, if you want to talk about, all of these things that have been levied against Trump with unsubstantiated claims against him, like they always want to say, Trump said this thing that was unsubstantiated. There's no evidence. It's baseless. It's like, well,
prove it.
You sit and they're projecting.
Yeah.
they're calling, it's what James Lindsay calls the iron law of woke projection. Like the accuser, or like when there's somebody who's abusing someone else, a lot of times they want to cry foul and act like they're the victim. Oh, you made me do this, when really they're the ones instigating it. Like, really, guys.
But you noticed that after the debate, the first debate, that the right was very silent, and they were silent for a reason, because they didn't have to say anything. They didn't have to say a word. They were like, they were telling everybody leading right up to it. They were like, you know what? Let it happen. And we'll let the whole world see. And the whole world saw. And they were like, told you. And they moved on with their lives. But then I started seeing posts and things about, oh, well, Biden just had a bad day. And it's like, it's posts like that push people away. They're like, okay, yeah, you're clearly, if you can't see this, then I think it's the reason why they had to move on from him so quickly. We all knew it was going to happen. There was no way that they were going to survive another debate.
I think a lot of the game plan for that's in the opposition to Trump, and not really the opposition to our constitutional republic, is they've had to push their game plan up. I think between Biden's health falling apart, which is sad, and Trump surviving the assassination attempt, they've had to move a lot of things forward that they didn't expect to have to move forward. Like, it's not even October yet. How many black swan events have we had all back to back? Or, we've had the biggest Joe Biden gaffe extravaganza special that we've ever seen with that debate. Trump almost lost his life. A massive cyber incident happened with CrowdStrike, which then subsequently they've recently admitted in the last week that they've had threat actors inside. Yes, a major security firm, cybersecurity firm. Not, I think they're more a propaganda firm anyway, because their involvement with the DNC and all that, and the Russiagate stuff we talked about last week. But let's just give them their title for the moment. They pushed an update that crashed 8 million Windows machines to blue screen that had to be manually fixed. And then they admit a week later or so, like, that they had threat actors in their servers, in their network, that then are selling their secrets to the open internet. Like, all of their threat vector data, the stuff that they're supposed to be collecting, where they're tracking all of these hacker groups and stuff. Now that's on the web.
Yeah, exactly.
What good are they?
And the thing is that once it's out there, there's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Sanction them? You can't. You can't. I mean, it's like, oh, well, sorry about your luck. Here's your $3.
And they'll never go anywhere because they get no bid contracts from the federal government, and the DNC pays them. Oh, and did we mention that they were out of Ukraine last week? So anyway,
I'm not even sure, but we'll have to get with Turtle on that one. All right, so let's go ahead and close out this segment. So we got September 6th, Facebook announces that it identified roughly 3,000 politically related ad buys connected to 470 fake accounts. All right, and it found that they had approximately $100,000 in ad spending from June 2015 to May of 2017, associated with roughly 3,000 ads that was connected to about 470 inauthentic accounts and pages in violation of the policies. Their analysis suggested that the accounts and pages were affiliated with one another and likely operated out of Russia.
So you could easily, this is one of those attribution things where you could very easily get a VPN. There are plenty of gray market. I'm not going to advocate for this. I'm just saying it exists. There are plenty of gray market areas on the internet where you can purchase, stolen funds and credit cards and gift cards and things for fairly cheap. And there are Russian server farms that are willing to pay anybody or take money from anybody. And you can you can access them that exist in Russia, and you can buy these server farms and you can rent them, and then you can do whatever you want from them. It's very easy, to do this because Russia fights them too. Like just like let's not pretend that Russia has more hackers than we do. We in any other country, right? Threat act, think of hackers and these pseudo nefarious tech people that exist in different countries, kind of like privateers of the old days of pirates and stuff on the high seas. Countries would enlist guys that had ships with guns and crews and things to go do their dirty work. And if you were in the waters of whoever was paying you, you were good. But if you were out somewhere else, you were, you had multiple flags that you could put up. This is where we get the term false flag. Because these ships would run up a flag that looked like another, like whoever they were, whoever their target was, they would fly a flag that got them kind of under the radar, and they would do something nefarious underneath of that flag. And it would be false attribution. This is the kind of thing that's happening here. Is they're saying, oh, all these server farms or whoever it was out of Russia bought all this bad advertising on Facebook, which really didn't amount to much. It's as a drop in the bucket compared to what our own campaigns in this country drop on advertising. Okay, this is nothing.
Yeah, $100,000,
literally nothing. So in later reports from even out of Facebook and other political and analysts said, look, this is a nothing burger. So basically they spent a little bit of money to go rent some servers in Russia and buy ads back over here on Facebook in order to track it and say, oh, look, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. No. This is very easily just wiped under the rug and just explained away.
Yeah, because on October 2nd, that's when they gave the Senate and House Intelligence Committees, the 3,000 ads linked to Russia. So of course it's like, oh, it has to be collaborated. But at this point, the government already knows that it has nothing to do with Trump. So now when you're starting to see all these things come out about Russia wanting Trump to be president, it's not because they think that Trump is running with them. They're trying to create a scapegoat, and by any means necessary. So, and then that's when we go back to Carter Page, because on November 2nd that year, Carter Page, the foreign policy advisor, he testified in the House Intelligence Committee about I think it was a closed door hearing, and according to a transcript, he tells the committee that he briefly exchanged some nice pleasantries with Russian Deputy Prime Minister Arkady Dvorkovich, and this was during his July 8th, 2016 trip to Moscow, where both men had spoke at the commencement ceremony of the new economic school. So I mean, just seems more like business as usual. Page also, he had confirmed that he wrote down an email campaign to policy aides J.D. Gordon and Tara Dahl about, on a related front, he's going to send him a readout soon regarding the incredible insights and outreach received from a few Russian legislators and senior members of the presidential administration there. But under questioning, he had gained those incredible insights by listening to Dvorkovich's speech and regarding the Moscow newspapers, but not from meetings from the Russian government officials. Well, I mean, isn't that perjury?
Sounds like it.
Yeah. All right.
This is the web of lies that caught that cat come around to catch him.
Yeah, exactly. That's how they kind of circle around and get you. That's why when detectives bring you in, they bring you in for 5 hours for questioning. They'll ask you kind of the same similar questions and go in circles to see if your story changes, and they can tell where your story changes, if whether you're guilty or innocent. And that's how they get you. All right. So back in December 1st, retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, President Trump's former national security advisor, pleads guilty, making false statements to the FBI, or one false statement. That's why I'm kind of like, I mean, people are going to lie in certain areas to kind of cover themselves. About the two agents discussing he had with Sergei Kislyak and the Russian ambassador to the United States, and which he was a private citizen when he took office. All right. And then the very last thing we're going to go over here is, this was ABC News. Flynn prepared to testify that Trump directed him to contact Russians about ISIS, which I don't know what that has anything to do with it. But the special counsel Russia investigation, and according to the confidant, is prepared to testify that Donald Trump directed him to make contact with Russians initially as a way to work together to fight ISIS in Syria. The stunning turns comes Flynn pleaded guilty to one count and lying to the FBI count on his back channel negotiations with the Russian ambassador. Talks that occurred before Trump took office. Special counsel made plea agreement public Friday morning.
Is that the right article you got there?
Yeah. Oh shit. I'm sorry. There we go. So, sometimes people, they lie to kind of protect information. It's kind of like, who is it that just went, Steve Bannon, who went to prison because he decided he wasn't going to give information because he felt in his mind that was,
protected.
Yeah, it was protected speech.
That is one thing I will give credit to him for, is he stuck to his guns. A lot of these people folded. A lot of people around Trump folded. Flynn did not. Not Flynn, but Bannon. Bannon did not fold.
No, he didn't.
I don't necessarily trust the guy after all of the Q stuff and being around Mike Lindell in the Cyber Symposium, even though he did criticize him. There's something about Flynn or Bannon that just, I can't put my finger on it yet. But he has stuck to his guns on this one, and he's locked up now, right? He had to turn himself in.
Yeah, he had to turn himself in to the DOJ, that same DOJ that's run by who?
Oh shoot.
Not Mayorkas.
That's
Merrick Garland.
That's Garland.
It was also held in contempt of court, but of course, they're not going to go after him. Mm-hmm. So
the Senate's not going after any of those guys because Schumer refuses to put it on the schedule. The House has impeached Mayorkas, and I don't know if they've even tried to do it with with this other. I keep forgetting his name now. I'm dumb. My brain is fried tonight. We've had so much going on the side of this show.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss it, but we've had a lot of stuff going on, and we've been trying to put stuff together for season 3. It's I was gonna let you guys know I can't wait for season 3. It's going to be great.
There are still, I'll say this too, is there are so many people that are no longer around because of Trump, because they've given up. They've realized that the Republican Party has been taken over by the MAGA side of things. I'm not necessarily a MAGA, die hard, whatever. Yeah, I do have my Trump flag back there. You can't quite see it right now, but I'm not finding the MAGA stuff, because the MAGA thing is a little more like culty sometimes. I'm not there, but you have to admit that the old Bush era Republicans are slowly being pushed out, and there are some holdouts. There are still some neocons in there, some uniparty people that are still hanging things up, like Schumer. That won't put impeaching Mayorkas on the freaking ballot on the schedule. Even though all these strongly worded letters in these hearings where they get to rip people is good because we're seeing them get shredded in these committee hearings, there's still not action that's happened yet. There's not been any action that's happened yet to hold a lot of these people accountable. And anytime there ever has been any nuance or little minutia of some kind of accountability, it's been slap on the wrist. Like the lawyer that lied in the FISA court, slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone. These people just get off without a whole lot of anything. They have their pensions. They get to keep all their benefits and go off into the sunset, and you never hear about them again. While guys like Bannon are in prison because he just refused to talk. It's like you have guys that have spoken falsehoods, that have wasted taxpayer dollars and gone into these witch hunts against Trump, and yet you have guys like Bannon who just refused to speak. Like, you're punishing a guy for exercising his Fifth Amendment right, which is not self-incriminate to some degree. I'm not going to give you information. It's protected because of the things with Trump. So that's a thing too. What happens next because all of the things they're trying to get Trump on have to do with official actions that have just been ruled that he is immune on those. How much of that, because that's going to be a whole long drawn out hearing. We're not going to hear the end of those hearings until after the election, because he'll never go to real trial. It's going to be a show like they did with Alex Jones, where he will not get to defend himself because it's a hearing, so he doesn't get to testify or anything. They just get to drag him in front of the court and say, and determine what was and what wasn't an official action of his now. So these people are despicable in the way they're running this government.
Yeah, it is.